There's a thing that the governor put in back in 2011, which is called revenue caps. There were some revenue caps anyway, but the revenue cap says local municipalities, local school districts can't raise taxes. You have a revenue limit cap. You can spend up to it, but you can't spend beyond it. So even if we were really a well-off district like a Lake Geneva or Whitefish Bay or one of those districts that have incredible amounts of money, you have to go to referendum and ask your taxpayers to raise that cap, okay? And we know that we couldn't really do that. That wouldn't work. So we don't have a choice but to stay within that budget. The reason I told you all that is why? Because if you have a $100 million budget and $2.5 or $3 million are increasing the cost of living, and then you want to give your teachers and your staff a raise because they deserve a raise to keep up with the cost of living, right? And healthcare goes up. All of a sudden you're down $4.6, $7 million. $7 million last year came to us for, it was supposed to be this. But what happened is we're at the end of the referendum, and the pool and a couple other sites have unsuitable soils. Not a big deal to a lot of us, right? You're thinking, why is that a big deal? Well, the DNR, Department of Natural Resources, said you can't build with those soils there. They're contaminated, they have to be removed and taken away. Those soils, to do some of the building we did, cost us about $1.5 million. Then, we had increased over the last 3 or 4 years 400 kids. And all of a sudden, our original plans back when we started the referendum thing, we already knew that we were outgrowing our original plan. So we added a couple $1 million more addition onto Gaston, which is our largest elementary school, primary school. And then we had some health care. We're a self-funded school district, so we take care of our own employee health care. So if somebody gets sick or whatever, and God bless them, we want to take care of them, right? They're the people we care most about. But if they get sick, we got to pay for it. And last year, our health care costs came in a couple $1 million more than we anticipated. In the end, myself and our business manager, we were stuck to solve a $7 million deficit. Our business manager, Mrs. Moratz, has taken and projected this out, looking at the current funding situation in Wisconsin, and said, what's that going to look like as we forecast that out over the next year? So this next year coming up, you can see there, as far as the budget goes, this just says 0 because that's where we're at now. But going into the next year, we're going to be 4.5, then it's going to be 3 point, then it's going to be 3 point, then it's 4, then it's 4.7. It's not getting better. It used to be a time that every single year, school districts, to keep up with the cost of living, would get an increase in the allocation towards kids of about $275 per kid. They cut that off. And for a couple of years, they deducted it, and not only didn't give us the $275, they deducted $500. And that's what put us at the $11 million in 1 year. Now, since then, they've come back and they said, well, we got to give them a little bit. So we get about $75 a kid. If we hadn't gained 400 kids, our deficit this year would be about $6.5 to $7 million. And next year would be the same thing, $2.5 million more, $2.5 million. I'm giving you a lot of information because you deserve to know. This is exactly why we're sitting here today and talking about schooling. This is exactly why, as a leader of the district, I had to be really unpopular and close down 4 elementary schools. And I promise you, the worst thing a superintendent can do, and I gained many enemies, was close down a school. And what choice did we have? None. No choice. When we closed those schools down, we saved a couple $1 million by taking our staff and consolidating. And then we put them all to what's called SAGE. So pre-K through 3rd grade are in 6 buildings now instead of 12. buildings that we have for elementary schools. By doing that, we saved $4 million more in income in class size reduction grant, the SAGE, it's federal funds. People said, John Q. Public doesn't have to think about that, right? That's my job. But think about all that. $2 more million in staffing that we saved by consolidation, $6 million or $4 more million in the SAGE funding that we got in. It's a $6 million swing. Now think of what that deficit would have done if we wouldn't have done that. Reconfigured the middle schools, right? And we made them intermediate schools. Dr. Salzman probably let me show you that. We'll get back to that. That's not true. It's not a secret. You guys know that already. But the bottom line is that at the intermediate schools, we went from 2 to 4, 4 through 8, consolidation of staff again. But here's our problem, folks. We've cut boatloads of money. You just saw how much we've cut. Over $30 million in the last number of years. And I'm really proud to say this to you. I had staff in here that will tell you this. You know what I didn't do? I didn't cut people. And I gave them raises, and I gave them the health care benefits, and I gave them post-retirement benefits. And why did we do that? Because if you don't take care of the people that work for you, you don't have good people working. So if you have good teachers, part of that is because we pay. I worry about it a lot in the future. I'm telling you that right now. I worry a lot about it. Because if we don't give our people raises to keep up with cost of living, if we take away health care benefits or benefits they would have upon retirement, they won't stay here.